Yeah, hi everyone. Happy New Year and welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Wan and I'm here today to talk more in detail with regards to diabetes type 2, which has been a big issue and it's not just for the black people but also the white people, I would say the world at large. Diabetes type 2 is taking the world at a whopping speed. And the only thing that you can do is just to get yourself disciplined in the first place. Yeah, I know there are medications which are available that can be used, but again, you might want also to see how to eat decently. And I've taken some steps today to get some locally made African food. And why such food? Remember in my last video, I did talk about the glycemic index and glycemic load. So I've chosen a particular African meal which I know that it has a low glycemic index as well as glycemic load. So essentially, let's go back and try to understand what is diabetes type 2. Diabetes type 2, in summary, it is a dietary disease. Dietary disease meaning that you were not born with diabetes type 2. It only occurs down the road as you are growing, and it's frequent between ages of 30 and 65 because at that stage we are kind of getting slow with physical activity, so there's more of sedentary life and also engage in other activity like stress, job, busy up and down. So that's the whole thing here. So it is not something that it cannot be managed. You can still gain back your life as a normal person if truly you really want it. So first of all, there are two things here very important that we tend to neglect. It has a lot to do with sugar. So, but why the sugar builds up in the blood? That's the big question that you need to ask yourself. It is with regards to insulin resistance. That's the key word. So insulin resistance occurs when you put on so much weight. That is, the gland, what we call the islets of Langerhans, found in the pancreas, is responsible to pump out the insulin as well as the glucagon. So the glucagon helps to boost it up. Say for instance, when you are running short of glucose in your system, that's when the glucagon now goes into the storage and where breakdown takes place for what you have been keeping. So essentially there are two things here with regards to this, the storage. So we have what I call conversion. So take for instance when I eat excess food, so the body is capable to send them into storage, and this storage could be in the form of protein, could be in the form of fat. So that's the two mechanisms that we all have to know. And when there's that need of energy, that's when the liver now becomes engaged in stimulating the system. That is what we call gluconeogenesis. So your excess sugar is stored in the form of glycogen. So that's where you hear the word like glyconeogenesis, that's the building up. So that's sort of breakdown and building up. That's what takes place in our body time and again, time and again. Now, having said that, you are now being diagnosed with diabetes type 2, that is excess sugar in your blood. But what is it actually? So I have a simple demonstration for you to see here what it is. So let's suppose that I was able to enter a shop and I get this 2 liters of guava, which is actually sweet. And this should be my body. So I'm loading it. So watch as I'm doing. So I'm feeling it, and at the same time, my body is working. That's using it as a source of energy for me to do a job. But in the situation where are more sedentary than being active, this is what happens. There's what we call spillover. So begin to watch what I call spillover. So watch. And there you go. So that is the whole trouble. So when you get to this stage of spillover, I take it closer to the camera. You can see now my plate with excess outside. So it tells you that your body can no more metabolize all this sugar because of one, you have insulin resistance. So you see my glass is already full and excess is outside. So that excess is what you find running in your blood. And when you go now for the blood works, what I always call HbA1c, that's what it says. So you have excess sugar in your blood. That is, you are out of the range, which is between 5 and 7. So having said that, now you are to be put on a medication, and some might even end up taking insulin as well in order to help to break down this in your blood, but not in the cells. So you need to first of all understand how the medication they work per se, like the metformin, the glyburide, the glitazones, and host of other diabetic medication that you are forced to take when you have type 2. They have to move now this spillover sugar or excesses into the muscles, into the cells, and then convert them into energy. And if you choose to stay indoor, being less active, you will still be in trouble. That you find yourself in a vicious circle, because you move the sugar into the cells, but you are not active. So they all get stuck in there. They're not doing anything. Now you are being given insulin injection to reduce the sugar that you have in your system. Again, they all build up all the way. So it's a kind of a vicious circle. So you need to do something by engaging yourself, going out of the house, doing an activity, and not living a sedentary life. So those are the options for those who want to go pharma, as we say. On the other way around, we are blessed to have something magical here that has nothing to do with receptors, because the insulin that they give you goes to react with the receptors, because the cells already have insulin receptors in place, embedded in what we call the cells pathways. So pathways are particular devices embedded in cells that communicate among themselves. So one cell can communicate with the other using the signal pathways. So that's what it does. So insulin now has receptors implanted in those cells that they help to carry this procedure to success. So that's the pharmaceutical part of it. Now, there's another way around that we can still do the same job, even much better. So watch what I'm doing here. So I had to go to the shop and get kernels of cocoyams. Now, these cocoyams is not the normal one. There are various types of cocoyams here. Let me make it more clear here. So I choose to get the kernels or rhizomes of the traditional cocoyams, which we call them, in English we say taro, or in French also the same name is also taro, because it's a particular species that is a little bit slimy. And this is what I have done. I've peeled them, so you can see what I've done here. I've peeled it, and this is it, it's ready to go. So you can either chew this one yourself and eat it with some vegetable. And I will explain to you why vegetable and why it should not be oily. So let's come back here. You see what I've done so far. So I have transformed this cocoyam now, smashed. If you watch keenly, you see that it is kind of slimy. That slimy aspect, we say emulsification in pharmaceutical designing. So anything that undergoes emulsification is a good news, because at the level of your blood, it helps to absorb the sugar building up in your system. Consequently, your blood sugar will definitely spike when you choose to eat taro. Taro has taurine inside, a chemical substance also which is natural. It causes no damage to your system. It helps just to hold back the sugar molecules. So those sugar molecules now get themselves engulfed by the taurine. So you see how mine looks like. It is slimy. So that's what it does. And then with time, you can either pass it out from your stool or the other way around. So use it as energy. So there's no reason why you should have blood sugar spiking when you eat cocoyams. So that's it. To be more precise again, I call it taro because there are various species of cocoyams. So that's it. You can see the back of it to prove to you that we all have them there in Africa. It's not something that you need to go to space or to go to America and search for it. You have it right there next to your house. So please get yourself engaged. Those who want to keep on metformin, that's fine. I don't want to say don't use it, but make sure that you get yourself engaged in physical activity. That's one. Second one, it is intermittent fasting. Fasting also helps in diabetes because take a situation where you have this spillover in your system. If you fast, the quantity here remains there, but during that fasting now, what happens it is there is a gluconeogenesis, glyco, yeah, and then there's that total breakdown of what you have in your system. So that excesses or called the spillover is being used in that process of fasting. So Christian, we do what we call Lent. Lent lasts for 40 days. That is very important for health purpose. Whereas those who are Muslim, you do Ramadan. So that's probably another good news for diabetic patients. So I will strongly recommend everyone, those who are pre-diabetic, diabetic subjects, as well as those who are obese, to make sure that they engage themselves in either one or the other. Either you go the Ramadan way or you go with the Lent if you are Christian from Catholic Church or whatever you want to say. So the essential thing again, take home message is Ramadan or Lent helps to absorb the excesses of sugar that you have in your system. That's it. And you can equally engage yourself in eating this taro. Again, let me show you. Taro should be eaten at least twice a week. And taro transforms into what we call emulsification. Being emulsified, it helps to trap back the sugar molecule that you have in your system. So that's it. Feel free to come back to me and ask as many questions as you can. Please don't let yourself be carried away by this disease that we all know and we can manage it peacefully. It is not like type 1 that you tell me, okay, you want to stay on a medication all through your life. I'm so sorry, but type 1, that's what it is, except you do what we call transplant of the pancreas. That's the other way you can go out of it. But type 2, it is dietary disease. So those of you eating this food, you should be fine. And when I talk about this particular meal, it's just because of the glycemic load and the glycemic index. So food that have low indices are strongly recommended for diabetes and pre-diabetic patients. Now, I actually make what they call a PDF document and I drop it on the forum. I will also make sure that I drop it on the website for you to actually follow up. You will see 3 colors. You will find the green, the red, the yellow. So the yellowish food or the list of yellow food are those that you might eat them, say during parties. I don't want to restrict you that, oh, never you take this or that. No, you can still consume those food which are in that yellow list, but make sure that you engage yourself in an activity, because my main goal here is not to make this blood sugar value to spike. I want to keep it under control. So activity is very important. Those ones which are green, there's a great news for that. And I do have here the green. That's why you see my plate, it has the green stuff there. So why this green stuff? Okay. There is what we call nitric oxide. Nitric oxide has a very important role, not only for subjects with diabetes, but also for subjects with high blood pressure. What happens is, when you are being diagnosed with diabetes, there are higher chances that your blood pressure also will spike. And not only that, the bad news with diabetes is, it doesn't come alone with blood pressure spike. It comes with over 15 diseases. So if you look at the name, it is written there, diabetes mellitus or diabetes insipidus. Each of those letters is an illness. So please don't let this disease take your joy. Fight back. Take control of yourself and move ahead. So green food or green vegetable, like this one you see alongside with the cocoyam, has what we call nitric oxide. That nitric oxide has an effect at the level of the capillaries. It does what we call cleaning. It serves as a scavenger. So scavengers are those kind of stuff that help to clean the system. It's just like in your own house. When the pipe is clogged, you will need to look for a plumber to come and clean it up. So if you have green vegetable in your food, the green vegetable now produces what we call nitric oxide. So nitric oxide now helps to wash out that effect, and blood circulates faster, and also fluid, and your blood pressure will definitely drop. There will be no reason why you'll be having high blood pressure when you live on this. And another thing is, only live food have nitric oxide. Dead food don't have them. And dead food are meat, fish. Those ones are dead food. Again, it's up to you. If you choose to go with dead food and not green food, which I call them live food, you will be in trouble down the road. So prepare for the battle, prepare to fight, but those who want to listen to me will not be in trouble if you go what I'm saying. And another key thing is, those green food also should be crunchy. When they are crunchy, they contain more of the nitric oxide. So essentially, I want to say you should eat the food raw. Yes, raw as the word raw. You might want to make yourself a cow, a goat by grazing. That's fine. Those who choose to go grazing will not have trouble. But if you choose to cook them, you risk doing the wrong thing, because vegetable, they contain what we call biocatalysts. So at a certain temperature, they lose their activities. So I would suggest get them raw, except your arrow. If you want to cook, of course, it might be a little bit challenging to eat arrow raw. But all the other vegetable like bitter leaf is even the best. Now, bitter leaf is another important vegetable that I would recommend everybody to get engaged by eating it raw, because it has got a bitter taste. That bitter taste, remember in my previous video, I did explain that it contains tannins that transform into tannic acid. They are all around the acids of Langerhans. That's where you find the pancreas. So they help now to retard build up around that area, because if you want the pancreas to function very well and also not developing insulin resistance, then that's what you need. It is not sweet. Sweet doesn't help you in this case, like sweet drinks, like all these guava and Coca-Cola and the rest of other things. No, the raw bitter leaf or the bitter cola, if you can get one, just one a day, will do you a great thing. So that's what you have to do. Focus on all this and make sure you subscribe on my page as well as my Facebook page, and you will see for yourself the great result. Feel free to get back to me. You can see my phone number. You have everything there. So don't get yourself carried away by diabetes. Enjoy yourself. Today is a festive day, 1st of January. Let's start the year in a good mood by fighting this diabetes type 2. Don't say there's no solution. There's a solution right there. It's just you engaging yourself. And if you follow me, contact me, I will walk you through, and in 6 months' time, you should be on any medication, except you cannot keep the rules. But for now, keep taking whatever medication you are taking. I don't know, you are metformin, which is a biguanide, you are glycerides and pioglitazone. Whatever thing your doctor tells you, please listen to your doctor. He or she is an expert in that field. Your doctor is not out to kill you. It's just to walk you through these tough times. Again, food is another thing. So make sure you engage in food as well as physical activity. I don't want to see you spending so much money going in and out of hospital. Get yourself engaged in green food and it will do you great. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.